Hi, my name is Jetara Sehart. I am the executive director of a nonprofit called Love Wild Horses. We are based in Marin, California, and gathering people. We have 380,000 people so far that we have gathered to create survival for the last of America's native wild horses, to live simply in peace and to not be sold for horse slaughter. We are coming to you today from this beautiful place. Look at these hills, and in West Marin, California, called Killam Farms, and they focus on hunter, jumper, equestrian lessons for all ages, and they also host special events here. And we're really grateful because they invited us to come and do this little film to bring awareness for wild horses to be saved from horse slaughter and to be free. Last week, the world received news that the Bureau of Land Management, an advisory board, gathered in Elko, Nevada, a place which was a little bizarre for the Bureau of Land Management to hold a national meeting in itself, because Elko, Nevada is a place that is known to not really love wild horses very much. It's a place where the cattle ranchers' word more so rules than the survival of the horses. So last week the news that came out was that the Bureau of Land Management has captured 48,000 of our wild horses taken from our public land, and believes that they should be sold to slaughter now, all of those horses. And when this news hit, everybody, the outrage was just the outrage and the upset. It's difficult for me to even speak about because it's so disturbing to me, because I love these horses so much and they are so beautiful, and they represent everything that is beautiful here in America. They're highly sensitive beings, highly intuitive beings, and in the wild they live in families, and there's just so many things wrong with this picture that we need to correct. So it's time for us to bring solutions to the table. And the one solution that we must take off the table, and I'm pleading for, to President Obama before he leaves, to ban horse slaughter export. And all he needs to do is issue an executive order and just ban horse slaughter export in America. We have one fabulous solution Love Wild Horses does that we came up with, and we're ready to put it into motion. It's called the Green Hay Bank. And what happens is people donate whatever they can afford to donate. Maybe it's 20 cents at a store, maybe it's $1 or more. And those donations go to buy bales of hay for horses in need, so the owners who have rescued the BLM horses after they've been removed from the public land will be taken well care of and not wind up back in the slaughter chain. We need laws to strengthen also the freedom of our wild horses. Presently, there are some wild horses that are being targeted for removal, and the cattle ranchers are claiming that the horses are damaging the range, but in fact there are barely any wild horses there, and on our public land the wild horses are only granted 12% land share, and of that 12% land share they have to share that land with the cattle and the sheep, and there are 6 million welfare cows and sheep on our public land. And so while we want everybody to be, have jobs, and we don't want to take away anybody's jobs or livelihood, at the same time we also don't want our wild horses to die and become extinct. And the Bureau of Land Management believes at this point they are just taking out so many horses off of our public land and using our tax dollars to do this with helicopters in a most inhumane way. and putting them into short-term holding facilities, they're called, awaiting adoption. So just imagine there are 48,000 wild horses awaiting adoption. So I personally have been working on this for 6 years and working to help find homes for these adoptive horses. And to just imagine that the American people, our tax dollars are being used to clear our public land of nearly all the wild horses in order for corporations to move in, such as cattle, sheep, fracking, oil, gas, mining, to profit from the public land at our expense, and then the taxpayers have to pay to keep the horses in these horrible holding facilities where they're treated inhumanely. And now the Bureau of Land Management says they can't afford to feed them. So really what they need to do is just open the fences and return the horses to the public land. There's 245 million acres of public land, and there are under 30,000 free-roaming wild horses left. So if you could imagine, wild horses are similar to the elephants, how the elephants roam freely and they roam far, and so the wild horses naturally move where their feed is. The problem that they are facing is that they are fenced out by the cattle ranchers from so much, their prime grazing area, their water, their migratory pattern upon the public land. And so if you were fenced into a little tiny area and a horse, of course that area would be damaged. Another solution would be to create wild horse refuges and sanctuaries, and we were working on this on our public land, in which they could even be mobile. We could do speed grazing as the cattle ranchers do. So the horses would be relocated where the great prime grazing is and where the water is, in order to do and perform one of the greatest gifts that they bring here for us, which is to reduce wildfires in America. This is one of our greatest national threats, is wildfires. And so what's crazy is it just is absolutely madness and doesn't make sense. Why would we be paying with our tax dollars to remove the very animal that prevents wildfires from our public lands, when that is actually one of our biggest problems here and threats? So we say, stand with us, return the wild horses that are in BLM captured pens, the 44,000 or 48,000, to freedom. Increase the protection so no horse in America should face being tortured to death. There's just no reason for any animal to go through that. The Bureau of Land Management last week expressed that they were going to send 48,000 wild horses to slaughter. And while this was shocking news to everybody and just a complete horror, where many of us who love the horses, we haven't slept, because it was that disturbing to imagine 48,000 of these gorgeous, magnificent animals that are highly intelligent and intuitive being trucked and tortured to death with tax dollars. Was just mind-boggling. So everybody fought for this, to stop this. And so in response, a few days ago, the Bureau of Land Management issued a statement saying that they did not intend to send all the wild horses to slaughter. Now the problem here is, well, this is great news that they announced that. The bad news is we still have in place the Burns Amendment. And the Burns Amendment was enlisted by a very corrupt senator. He's listed as he's known as one of the 20 most corrupt senators in the United States. And he created this amendment, and it was sort of like a last minute slip it under the table door kind of thing. And so no one knew about it to even object to it. And so basically what it says is, if we, the American people, can't buy back our own wild horses for $125 a piece, plus provide homes for them, then after 3 failed adoption attempts, any wild horse that the Bureau of Land Management has taken from freedom, from our public land, may be sold without authority, meaning to kill buyers, meaning to slaughter. This is wrong. We have to change this. So please join us. Join us in the Love Wild Horses movement by simply liking the Wild Horse Protection Act Facebook page. what I want to say is that I believe that this is possible because our tax dollars are being used for this whole situation, and so we can change this. So please join us. Love wild horses.